Live from North Carolina, it's Rebel Rousers with a Cause, featuring your hosts, Bonnie Gale and Hara Kasher.
Well, we're so happy that you joined us at Rebel Rousers. Bonnie, what do you want to talk about today?
I really want to talk about navigating through these challenging times because there's so much negativity out in the world right now, and I feel like everybody's feeling it. And I feel like this would be something that would be good to talk about and give some tips, what you can do to get out of it. What do you think?
I think it's good. Let's go for it. Go for it. So, okay, where are we starting?
I mean, literally, it's so interesting because every single person that I speak to, it's that's the first thing that comes up is oh my God, I'm in trauma, or I just can't take it anymore. You know what I mean?
I feel that way. I mean, I don't feel like it's to that level, but I feel like it's enough already. And that's, so I think that what you're talking about is something that even you and I can get benefit from because we're all in this crazy situation.
Exactly. It's I feel like nobody knows what's really kind of going on. However, people can feel that there's a lot going on. So it's kind of this confusing time where you feel like you're in limbo, right?
Definitely.
And it's fearful for a lot of people, to move forward with anything. What do I do? Should I buy something? Should I rent? Should I stay in the state that I'm in?
Should I go somewhere? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's interesting because I think what it is that we're in this disinformation period where you don't know what's true, and I think that's very unsettling. I think that's really what if we can look for solutions, it would be how to make somebody feel more grounded during this time, because I know for me, I got to do 1 million practices every day to feel like I'm able to move forward. So what you got?
Oh my God. Well, the first thing I have is, and I know this is something that I practice every day and I feel like it's really important, is meditating.
Definitely.
I love meditating, and it's almost sometimes I feel like I almost want to be living in the state of meditation as opposed to living in the state of this real world right now, because there's so much stress going on. And at least when I'm meditating, I feel at peace.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you. I think if you don't have a daily meditation and you're just going out the door, you're in a kind of a crazy situation.
Yeah. So if you've never meditated before, one of the things that I could say that would be really amazing is the first thing is kind of set up your space. And so what I mean by that is maybe if you're going to meditate in your bedroom, that you turn off all the lights, you light a candle, maybe you put on some really gentle music, and you just close your, lay down on your bed or sit in a chair and just close your eyes and think of nothing, for as long as you can do it. And every time something starts to come into your energy field, just say adios, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Goodbye.
Exactly.
Right?
When I first started meditating, it was as soon as I would do what you said, I would start thinking about all the things I had to do, and I would think about my laundry and whatever. But it's just about focusing and being in a regiment. And then when you do that consistently, then one day all of a sudden it clicked in and I was quiet. Hard to believe.
You are quiet now.
Sometimes it happens,
Oh my God, that's great. Oh, that is great. So just out of curiosity, how long did it take you to learn how to meditate?
I would say, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. You?
I would say it was similar, where I would practice every day, and I would kind of put a timer on so that that I wouldn't stop early, and I would give myself 10 or 15 minutes. I didn't think that I was going to be meditating for hours. Even today, I still don't meditate for hours. However, I think it's super valuable. If you can spend between 11 and 17 minutes a day meditating.
Right. And like, I think it's also good, like if you do it when you wake up in the morning, you prepare the day, you call that pre-paving. So you just kind of like put it out there, like the things that you would call your imagination, and you would just put it out there in a loving kind of, let's get this show on the road. And then when you go to bed at night, also to shut down and to close down and to be grateful on both times. But that's really a good way to start to feel grounded. So.
Absolutely. And not only that, it helps you sleep better.
Yeah.
And for the starting of your day, it's like, it's a really great way to start your day off on a really positive note, so that at least you're getting ahead of the curve to begin with.
100%,
you know what I mean?
100%. And that's really important because, like, I've written a book that's called Changing Your Thinking Changes Your Life. And it's really a very simple premise that what you think creates. We're creators. And so what you say, like when you start the day with a positive thought, you've set that into motion. Whereas if you wake up in the morning and you think about a litany of things that are going wrong, you are going down. You know, so it's really a choice. We're really in a time of discernment. So my recommendation to you, me, everybody that I would want to talk to is care enough about yourself to really put yourself in a situation where the best can happen for you, because we are going through challenging times. So that's really good stuff. Yeah, meditating. I think that's great.
Well, I know you have a cool tip too.
Well, I mean, I think there's so many things. We're going to talk about many different practices, and you know, one that I think is really good, and it's going to be a song at the end of our shows, is the Ho'oponopono. So that's, I was with Joe Vitale and Dr. Hugh Len in Hawaii, and he talked all about this amazing prayer that's very simple. It's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
Wow.
And what that does is it's basically, okay, so like if John Lennon said, you know, imagine that the world will live as one, in that theory and that, you know, way of speaking, we are all one. We come from one creator. And in the Ho'oponopono, if there's oneness, then when I see something in front of me, it's not outside of me, it's within me. And a really interesting thing, I'll just put this in here because it's brilliant. Dr. Hugh Len was, he was a therapist or a psychiatrist at a mental institution in Hawaii. There were 200 inmates, all who had committed crimes that were like incredible and were never to be gone back into society, right? So what he did is he looked at their charts, never talked to any of them, and he basically looked at everything that they did, and he said the prayer, which is like, this is before me, and so if there's only a combination of you, God, that shows up as all of us, which is the oneness, then this came from me, so I'm gonna say this prayer, which is, I'm sorry, geez, you know, like what was I thinking? Please forgive me, because like I'm awake now, I'm aware, I get it. Thank you for like showing me this instance where I have that power, and I love you because we go forward. So it's a simple thing, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and it really does miracles.
Oh my God, I have chills. Like since you've been talking about it, it's like I just have chills running up and down my body. And I know, you know, like people talk about it. However, you know, one thing that I think is really beautiful is if you like either kind of like on a sticky note, write it out for yourself,
Right.
and put it like on the mirror that you get ready in front of, and your refrigerator door,
Definitely.
and the door that you leave to go out every day. And every time you see it,
That's brilliant.
if you say it 3 times, like literally you actually infuse it in your body, right? And you're doing it all the time because, you know, how many times do you go to the refrigerator, right? And then how many times do you leave out your door to go someplace?
Right.
And then how many times do you look in the mirror because you're getting ready or something? And look, that's a great way to start your day because you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah,
And before you brush your teeth, you're saying this to yourself.
So true.
And so it's like you're just starting the whole day and like just, like it just makes me so happy to think about things like this. This is really how you get out of the trauma and drama of all of the garbage that's going on right now.
Right. And like, I think that's important because, like, let's back up a little bit and let's really talk about what Bonnie started us off with, which was like the situation that we're in right now. And to whatever level you know what's going on, it's got to feel disturbing. Heavy, disturbing. And there are a lot of people that are in a lot of fear. Okay, so this is not a time like any other time that we've ever been through, and this requires us doing things differently. So in the past, maybe you thought you had the luxury to kind of like wing it. Oh, well, I'll be positive one day. Oh, I'm going to chat bad stuff today and whatever. No. You don't have the luxury of a negative thought. That's a really good book, by the way. And if you've ever read that book, it's...
What's it called?
You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I think I need to go order that one.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's really where we're at right now. What we're talking about today, these are things that we do, we've heard of, and they're things that are really necessary in the time that we're in to stay grounded. Because if you are watching the news, which hopefully you're not, but if you are, or you're listening to people in your family that don't share the same beliefs that you do, you're constantly bombarded with fear. And you could be, I'm a very positive, happy person. I can say that it comes to me. I don't know about you, but you can't isolate yourself and not be around people.
Right.
You got to know that, this is something that it really requires focus and self-love. Like, you got to love yourself enough to say, hey, that's work, but I'm going to do it because I'm worth it.
Exactly. No, that's amazing. And not only that, the thing is like, so when you do that, right, and then you're around other people and they kind of see how you are,
right,
then they're like, I want to be like that. And so then they're kind of like, well, what are you doing? Right. Like a lot of people say to me, because I give a lot of information to a lot of people every day. Like, and I'm happy to do that. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that I chose to do and I do it. And some of the stuff is not easy, to even read myself, let alone, share with others. However, it's like, it makes me feel better to know what's happening. So for me, it's a good thing to do that. And at the same time, I try and lighten things up. So like, even when I make a post, right, and it's like somebody that maybe is, they say something negative about, I'm kind of like, oh, adios, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, see ya, as opposed to getting into all the heaviness of it,
right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So that, and it's funny because people will say to me, oh my God, Bonnie, every time I see that and I see the adios, I start cracking up.
Right, because they got the
and that's the whole point. And it's like laughter. Oh my God, Hara, laughter is so important. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, literally,
right,
like when we go out and you are so funny and you always crack me up, and I'm just like, oh my God, thank God. Like, thank God I'm with somebody like that, because I could be with somebody that could be taking me down too,
right, Right.
So, so that's the other thing, is like discernment,
right,
of knowing who you're spending time with and how it makes you feel.
Right.
So important. Right?
That's it, like, there's so much to say about this, but like, that's really the bottom line, is like, well, it's really wherever you're at in your spiritual growth, wherever you're at in the world kind of conversation. Like, for me, I'll just speak for myself, it's all about trusting in God and feeling that connection. And that connection is undeniable. That connection to me is my anchor. Because for me, my faith is so committed in that lane that I know that everything's going to be all right for me. It doesn't mean that I don't have feelings about what's going on. It doesn't mean that I don't get upset or scream at somebody or whatever. We're all human. I mean,
absolutely.
Please, but what I say is that, like, so, like, really to understand that, like, if you say, I trust God, if I say I trust you, Bonnie, I don't have to give you anything. I trust you, but like, by the way, did you do that? You know what I mean?
Sure you do. Right.
So it's like it's really that. It's that. It's like, what do you mean when you say I trust? Because I think that means, I think words have a lot of meanings for people, and so trusting in God and knowing that He's got this.
Or having faith. Like a lot of people will, use that terminology too.
Right, have faith. And so that's something that it's a comfort. And in that comfort, there's the for me, there's the idea that God wants us all to be happy. And even though we are going through something very dramatic and very biblical, we're still here, and to be able to laugh and lighten up and not make jokes about horrible things, but just to kind of, do whatever you can to lighten the load. Because and what Bonnie says is like, who you hang out with is so important. She only hangs out with me, I'm telling you.
That's it, are you kidding me? I'm scared to hang out with anybody else.
I mean, can you blame her? Anyway. But that's really what's important to really communicate, that we're in really important times, whatever you want to call that. Fearful, whatever, dire, whatever, but they're important times. And important times really require you, me, everybody to look at what's going on and to man up. Say, hey.
Or woman up.
Or woman up. There you go. So and that's where we're at right now. So what else is there that we can share?
Oh my God. Well, I think that it's really important to be grounded, which I'm kind of like in the air all the time. So I'm laughing about this as I'm saying it. And so one of the ways that I do ground myself is I go out and I exercise in nature, like either going walking or jogging or, just even like you were talking about grounding, like walking on the grass barefoot.
Right.
Or even sitting on the grass with your feet on the ground, you know what I mean? And like your hands on the ground and like feeling nature, which also is really amazing to get rid of EMF, by the way, as we're talking about that. Right?
Double entendre here.
So it's a good thing here.
Yeah.
And just breathing and being with yourself.
Yeah. And the thing is, look, I'm going to be really honest with you. Like, a lot of these things I know, I don't do them all the time. I mean, every day I say, you got to go out and walk with your bare feet on the grass. You're going to do that today. And I'm busy, and things happen. And then the next thing I know, it's the next day, and I say, you didn't do that. So it's really, when I am speaking, I'm speaking for myself, to myself, because, in that thought of God and the oneness and whatever, there's only one person here. That's the way I see it. We're all just examples of each other. And so, when I say something, it's always for me first, because I'm going to talk about the things that I'm doing. And so I think being outside, grounding, walking in the, with your bare feet is really good. I think listening to music that really settles your soul, that makes you
528 megahertz is positive music that actually literally changes your physical energy vibration in your body. And it's so amazing. Like when you listen, it's interesting. Do you know what they did to music?
No.
So years ago, there was a certain megahertz that was like what we were supposed to be listening to. That was really good for us. It's good for our ears. And then they literally shifted those numbers so that they started making music that was in megahertz that would actually screw up our brains. And so when you listen to 528 megahertz, and there's some other healing, if you just put in Google healing megahertz, YouTube, and you can come up with a myriad of videos that are free that you can listen to. Some of them are 3 hours long. And if you just listen, let's say when you go to bed, right? To bed, yeah. And then you'll just fall asleep to that. And then what happens is, we're actually programmed 95% by our subconscious. So even though we think and believe that we're making active decisions from our conscious, we're really not. Because most of the decisions that we make are what our subconscious tells us to do. So when you listen to that kind of music, it's like you're kind of like clearing out the subconscious of the negative stuff and raising the energy vibration so that the things that you do take in and believe and think about yourself and stuff like that end up being so much more positive, you know. And I study this stuff all the time because mindset to me is everything.
100%. And also like for me, like I like to listen to dance music. I like to listen to some kind of like, I don't know what you call it.
Upbeat, something that feels good.
Something that feels good, and then like I'm dancing and then my vibration feels like happy. I like that kind of stuff. So whatever kind of music gets you in that mood, you know, that's another way to like, so we'll back up a little bit and we'll go back, you know, somebody calls you on the phone and they're complaining about whatever, right? And so you go, oh, I was just listening to Rebel Rousers. What did they say? let's hope that's going to be happening.
Exactly.
So the thing would be, it's like, what can I do in this moment to take care of myself? You know, so there's a really cool thing. It's called pivoting, right? So like, somebody calls you on the phone. They go, oh gosh, my blah 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 is not feeling good. They came down with a blah blah blah, and they're blah blah blah. And you know, that's like heavy stuff, right? You say, oh, like let's say it's their Aunt Tilly, right? You say, and they're going, oh, Aunt Tilly's really sick and whatever. You go, oh, you know, I remember the last time I saw Aunt Tilly. She was wearing that purple dress. She looked so fantastic. Oh my God, I remember she was having such a good time. So that's called pivoting. You take control of the conversation. You don't like act like, hey, I don't want to hear that, because I'm a person that will go like this. Like I'm kind of like a little bit of a, you know, wild girl. And so when I don't want to hear something, I'll do that. But if you want to be polite, and I am at a lot of times, you would do that. It's pivoting. And so you take that conversation and you shift it to a place where you bring them to a positive memory, and then they're done with their conversation.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God, I love that. That's fabulous. That's a really good one. Another thing that's good to do, especially when you're hearing that and you're taking it in, is to like take some deep breaths, you know, just right from the beginning, so that you kind of clear yourself, and then the idea for whatever you're going to pivot is probably going to be like, come in just like that.
And also, like when somebody's talking, okay, so supposing you can't do that. Supposing the person's on a rant and they're going really for it. You can clear by using the Ho'oponopono. So like somebody's talking and they're going on, and you're just saying in your mind quietly, not in their face, sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, sorry, please. Because what you're doing is you're clearing. That person's in front of you, they're having a bad whatever, and you're taking the oneness principle to the nth degree, responsibility for whatever's going on, and you're clearing it. A really good thing also is to take the eraser from the back of a pencil and just kind of do erasing.
Like, oh, I like it. Oh my God, that's great.
It's great. You take a pencil, like maybe there's something really negative. Let's say you saw a negative article. You take the eraser and you put it on top of the article. It clears it.
Oh, that's a good one.
So if you check out the Ho'oponopono, if you go look that online, Dr. Hugh Len, there's a lot of tools that they use that are really simple things. I mean, like, I don't know about you, but like when somebody tells me something that is good, that like I like, and it makes me feel like it's going to get me where I want to go, I'm buying it all, I'm doing it all, I'm in it. I'm getting all my friends to do it with me because I like to play and all that stuff. And so that's really, like, we're going to give you things to do like that, to do it with your buddies and to hang out and say, hey, let's come on over and do vision boards, or let's come on over and have a moon ritual or a fire ceremony or something where we can say, we're two or more gathered there, am I in the midst of thee. You know, God's always with us, two of us. God's right there, right here,
absolutely,
everywhere. So it's all good. And like
he's here.
He's here. Yeah. So we just like, just know that, use that. And like, I'm not trying to be religious, because it's not a religious thing to me. It's just a fact. For me, it's a fact. And so, like just to be able to, and to be creative in this time, like you hear stuff, Bonnie listens to more intel than anybody ever has the right to. I'm telling you, how she still has a smile on her face is indicative of how she's using these things to get her through the day. So it's just really mastery at some level of being able to say, I'm worth it. This is a really tough time, and I'm going to do these things because I care. I care about myself, and I care about my friends, and whoever wants to join with me, let's do it.
Exactly. And it's so funny because people always say to me, oh, I can't meditate. I'm like, okay, if you can't meditate, here's another option for you, right? Take 3 deep breaths in and exhale out, and a second inhale in and exhale out, and the last inhale in and exhale out. And then you take your pen and you say, please allow me to let go of anything that I'm holding on to right now that's stopping me and blocking me and keeping me stuck. And just start writing and watch what comes out. Because it's really interesting, like when you prompt yourself of what you want to let go of, it just pops right out, and it's really easy, and you don't have to sit here and think and go, oh, what am I going to journal about today? You know what I mean? It's like the whole point of journaling is to get out that stuff that is no longer serving you.
Right.
And so, all you need to do is ask for yourself, your body, to let go of that. And it's amazing. You'll be writing so fast, you won't know what hit you, and in 10 minutes, you'll have pages of stuff
to look at, and
it's like, and you don't need that in you. And then if you want to do something really fun, get like a big cauldron or a big pot, or if you have a fireplace, like literally roll up the piece of paper. Like I actually kind of make it like almost like a stick, and I roll it up and I twist it, and then I actively burn it. What I mean by actively burn is I'm watching it burn, and it's so interesting when you see how long it takes for that piece of paper to burn, because you've been holding on to this stuff for so long that you don't even realize like how long you've been holding on to it. And so when that paper is burnt, you just like lost all that weight. You know what I mean? Like it's gone.
Right.
And it's heavy. It's like a burdensome thing.
Right. And you say, I'm letting this go. I'm letting it go. And the mind takes a picture of that. Like when you do that, you can do things and you can flush it down the toilet, right? Because that's a way of saying sayonara. See you later. Not now. Not this lifetime, right? So these are really good tools. I mean, I think, got anything else up your sleeve?
Not that I can. Well, one thing I will say is that I really feel it's important that like you have fun in life and you do fun things. So what are those things that make you feel like a kid, as an example? Okay. So one thing I'll give you that I do, so I have a mini trampoline, it's like a little rebounder. However, when I get on that trampoline and I put my music on and I start going and jumping around and putting my hands up in the air and all that stuff, I feel like a little kid again. So I really love doing that, and that to me is like super fun, and you don't need to do it with anybody.
Right. And that's something like, I mean, you may say to yourself, hey, we're going through this really tough time. What are these girls talking about? They're talking about bouncing up on a trampoline. What are they doing? Are they nuts? But the thing is, it's like, it's very nutty out there, and so you have to like meet it where it is. So if you think it's nuts out there, acting in a way that you would call like, what are they doing? That's probably where you need to like live now. So the things that you may say, well, I don't have time to have fun. It's too scary out here. You've got to really take a deep breath. A couple of them, like she was talking about. Call up a friend that has a better attitude. Listen to some nice music. Walk outside. Pet your dog. Play with your cat. They're there for a reason. God put them there for a reason. They calm down your system. And so, like, it may not seem like this is the right time to do the things that we're talking about, but this is exactly the time to be doing things that are really for you. Take time out. You feel panicky, your heart starts beating a little bit. What can I do? Maybe you want to color. Maybe get some crayons out or some markers out and draw something. And always say your prayers, because God's listening to us all the time, And, you know, all my prayers are never like, I want this, I want that. I always say, like, you know, if I want something, I'll say this or better, because I could be thinking smaller than what's really out there for me. But, like, you know, just put it out there. Thank you for taking care of me. I'm so grateful for this day. I appreciate Bonnie. I appreciate, like, what we're doing. I appreciate that you're listening. These things those are words that are golden in the universe. Appreciation, gratitude, and like when you stay in that vibration, you put yourself in that frequency, the angst kind of slips away, because it needs something to hold on to. So you know what I mean? If you're a visual person, you can see it like that, and seeing that just drop away. So hopefully,
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
And if you have, you know, challenges with this, maybe you need to find somebody to talk to. Maybe you need a coach to talk to, or somebody that you can talk to on a regular basis to help get you out of yourself. Because that's really what it is. It's like you're in yourself and you're, you know, stuck in your stinky thinking. You know, it's like if you think about the voices inside our heads, you know, like that's what I call the stinky thinking, right? Those voices, for most people, are not friendly voices. Like, they're not voices that you want to hear, you know, when you're going to take a big test, or you're going to, you know, run a big race or compete with something. You know, it's like, because those voices can take you down if you literally have not been working on yourself. So, you know, sometimes we need a little help from our friends, right?
Right.
And it's not necessarily always a friend. Sometimes it needs to be somebody that we don't know too well.
And I don't know if this is the last thing to say, but I would say that I'll be totally transparent. Like, I have written books on this, and every day I have to deal with myself. I mean, it doesn't mean that because you know something that you are, you know, it's a process, and we're all in that. So when I wake up in the morning and I have a negative thought, or something that somebody said bothers me, or whatever, or I listen to something on the news, or whatever that is, I have to remind myself, hey, come on, let's get back. Come on, Hara, let's get over here. Let's look at something fun. Let's do something whatever, because I am not willing to go down that path. It doesn't mean that I don't think those things. It doesn't mean that I don't see things that kind of make me crazy. I mean, we're all human, so we want to be human with, you know, with what we're talking about. We don't know any more than anybody else does, but these are things that we do. And if they are something that, we've said something here that makes you feel better, then we did a good job today.
It's worth it. I mean, I know that it's really changed my life to really live in this way and not just talk the talk, but actually like doing it. And it doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you never get scared about anything. It means that whatever comes your way, you can navigate through it in the best way possible. And that's the truth. And so, you know, because everybody has challenges in life.
Right.
And, you know, and trust me, I'll be talking about mine on here, that's for sure. And also what I do to overcome it, just like,
Right.
you know, Hara does. This is what this show is really about. It's about how to get out of yourself and into your best self and highest self, really, so that you can live your best life.
Right. And just in closing, I would just say that, like, we recommend that prayer is something that's really powerful. However you do it, doesn't have to be anything hokey or whatever you do. But I would recommend we love Gideon's Army. We love Jerry Foley and all those people. They're just wonderful, wonderful people who come together. They're like a lane that you want to go down, because in whatever dose that makes sense for you, they're available every single day. There's a prayer group. Jerry talks. He is the most inspiring and loving guy, real as can be. And I would just encourage you to subscribe to his channel and just get a dose of Gideon's Army every day. It's really fabulous.
That sounds good. I think I'm going to go watch Gideon's Army now.
There you go. Let's go.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.